Good evening. Today I'm going to be talking about the TikTok that I posted about 5 hours ago and how this has such an effect on my day. And to understand why that is, we have to go all the way back to 3 years ago where I transformed from an introvert that nobody really knew to the guy who always wanted to go talk or wanted to go text anyone, and how that became a problem in my life for the coming years. And at the time, I met a girl who vividly transformed my life into me meeting a whole group of people. And well, now I really look at it in retrospect. It was safe to say those group of people weren't the best people, but at the time, it was a group of people I wanted to fit in and blend into. And a lot of times when I try to talk to the people, I always run into problems. And they would always view me a certain way, or because of how I act, how I look. And a part of me always just wanted to make them see me better, just make them look at me better. Oh, maybe he's too boring. I wanted them to see me as an interesting people because I thought I was interesting at the time, at least. And when they viewed me in a way I didn't want to be perceived, I would try my hardest to force the perception I want them to perceive me as onto them. And that always caused them to get irritated at me, annoyed, and just start to dislike me and just start to distance from me. And I'll try not to make that happen or just hold it on just for the sake of having a relationship existing. And that really caused the death of a lot of relationships, or the disdain or distaste of a lot of relationships and people's perceptions of me. And over time, it happened a lot. And middle school was really important to this. I really hate talking about middle school. A lot of times people are like, "Oh, we can't get over middle school," but that's where a lot of my critical experiences happen, and a lot of experiences I'm getting or I'm talking about comes from that time. And there are many examples I could use from that time period, but the example I'd love to use today is one of the most iconic ones. Actually, no, it is the most iconic example because it transformed the way I thought in general. And we're gonna go back to the girl from December 2022. And I know we're tired of hearing that, but it's really important to this conversation. The entire premise that caused all the events of my obsession that followed after the original events that occurred before the separation was the fact that when I spoke to her in a way that showed that I didn't care, or I was too nervous, or I was too distant. And the fact that I showed that, and I didn't want to display that because I wanted to show, oh yeah, I do care, or yeah, I am interested. I wouldn't talk in most times, and when she didn't like that, and she said, oh, you want to do this, but you're not showing that. That was the main problem with the relationship. And when she went away, that caused me to trip out, trying to get her to see, oh, I'm not like this. And that's what that obsession came onto. That was the base of the whole obsession that ruined my year last year. And my obsession with her trying to see that this is not who I am, that I am this other person, it really went into a spiral that made her genuinely hate me. And that's how I got blocked. A whole legion of people started out to like me, and the rest of my year went to shit because of that urge for people, or that urge for me wanting people to see me in the way I want them to. And when I become the villain in their lives, I get stressed about it, and I really don't want to be the villain. Oh, please like me, please let me show you this reason to like me. Over time, over time, I got really depressed about it, like really depressed. My summer was shit. It was horrible. I was down every single day. That's the truth. It started to become better, especially after I left my old school. After I left it, I looked at everything in retrospect and realized the reoccurring problem that happens every single time I get into one of these situations I don't like getting into. And it turns out a lot of times I want to force something on people who doesn't want to be forced on anything. Oh, please don't leave me because you don't like the way I am, or you don't like the way you see me, and I see myself as this way. I want you to see myself also that way. I know I'm making this very complicated, but it's really simple. But a lot of times, there's nothing you can do about it, and that's okay. That's the best lesson I've ever realized. And I took that lesson into action in the situation from last month. And in this situation I'm going to talk about is very important to me because that's when I began to actualize everything that's happened over the past few years. And this occurred last month, where I was having a conversation with someone who I used to view as a best friend. And we're not friends anymore. And a part of me always wanted to know why. And at one point during the conversation, they said they don't care about the fact that we're not friends anymore, and I don't know why you care too much, which is okay. But when I first asked the problem that occurred in the first place, I asked her, when did you start to feel this way? She said, 18 months ago. 18 fucking months ago. At first, when I saw that message, I felt really enraged. Like I was straight up angry. And then I looked at it. I looked at that message. Then I thought about it. What do I want with my life? And how do I feel about myself after this message? I didn't say a single word to that message. In fact, ever since she said she had felt that way for 18 months, nothing has been said ever since then. And nothing probably will ever be said again. And the thing is, that's okay. You know, I always felt like I had to do something, had to take action to try to change someone's way of feeling something. But sometimes it's okay. There's more people in the world. Maybe I was a bad friend in her eyes, and I can never see it, but that's okay. The relationship existed for a reason. It has had its purpose, and it's time for me to move on. And that's the thing with a lot of people. A lot of people. That's why many people in my old school, I don't really speak to them anymore because they view me in a way I don't really want to be viewed anymore. I don't want to be known as that one person. And I go by many roles. Some notorious, some good, some bad, some annoying, some really bad I want to disassociate with. And all those identities people have placed on me. For a long time, I always try to show people or try to display to people that that's not who I am. But now that I'm physically separated from them, I look at it and I realize that's okay. It doesn't affect me and I know who I am. And after distancing it from it all and accepting it all, I become a little bit more comfortable with myself. Because now I'm trying to find more about myself. And all those identities, maybe they were me, maybe they were not me. But I can't do anything about it. All I can do is form my own identity as is ever changing, as I'm ever changing every day. Good night.